Ross, and where did you think it got away from you?
Yeah, we're clearly disappointed. We come here to try and bang 4 points, but look, we played a team that was worked really hard in the contest. They won the ground balls convincingly, and they almost doubled our tackle count. So their desire on the surface and the evidence was stronger than ours for a longer period of the game. So we got desperate when it got desperate. So we would have stolen in the end. I thought we had some opportunities late. If we had taken, would have forced some pressure. But overall, players and coaches are disappointed. You know.
Second quarter, was that where it got away? I guess not to score.
No, not particularly. First quarter, I mean, we didn't score in the first half very well. I mean, we should have had really 10 or 11 shots on goal and we had 6. So it was pretty even really on the surface on entries, but they scored at a reasonable rate and we didn't score it much, to be honest. And but second half, you know, we had a fair few more entries. Every time they went in the third quarter, they scored, and we were scoring at a reasonable rate, but we were leaking the other end. So it's a tale of two halves. Couldn't score and then couldn't defend, if that makes sense.
It's an obvious question, but Pav stood up and you still couldn't score enough. Michael Walters, how big a sort of hole was he left?
Well, I think that's where you'll take it. I didn't think it was an issue. As always, when the opposition play well and you can't get in the game, I mean, we've always said, you know, it's about winning the ball and not really going to those things. Like coming in, I think we were 3 and 4, defence and attack, or attack and defence, something like that. So clearly sometimes you only play. They were a really desperate team with huge desire tonight, and we spoke about it. But at the end of the day, you can only control your own actions. So I think it's irrelevant to Michael Walters, really. But it points to other forwards needed to do a bit more, really. You know, and Pav got him late, to be frank. I thought early he was like the rest of the forwards, not super effective. You know, so we've had multiple goal kickers across the board. The whole team wasn't allowed to play well from a team that really wanted it more than we did. So that's comes back to me as the coach and our leaders and the whole group. So there's a good lesson to learn out of this.
Ross, was there any part of the ground that you thought you could have done better?
Yeah, all over. Yeah, attack, defence, midfield. But we worked into it. We didn't give it up. We sort of fought on and made a game of it. But look, you come out with more entries and more clearances. So all it tells you is they were harder for longer and worked harder, sort of getting to the pointy ends of the ground, both ends. So it's an up and down. It's a game of transition. It's a game of up and down. And all credit to the opposition. I think they should feel good about themselves. And we've been reminded of what's required to be consistently win games of AFL football.
So you did mention pre-game about how desperate and hungry they probably would be coming out?
I think we always acknowledge the opposition and, you know, talk about their mindset and what they'll be coming in with. I don't think, you know, you need to be a genius to identify it was going to be desperate. So I thought we started well, but again, you need to score off those sort of entries. We've been doing it okay. We didn't do it well tonight. So,
how did you see McFarlane and Franklin?
Yeah, I thought Luke was pretty good for a fair while. I think Buddy kicked a couple. I didn't see them all. I was trying to organise things and look. Yeah, I think particularly first half Luke was fantastic. He got a couple late, I think, you know. I don't know, what's he kick 4? Pav's kick 4. It's neither here nor there, really.
Ross, the 6-day break after the heat last Sunday, did that hurt you at all, do you think?
No excuse. It was perfect conditions. We pulled up perfectly. They played in the slog, short break. Yeah, no. I think you've got to give kudos to the opposition. We're a hard-working team. We're not a team full of superstars. When we play as a complementary team and we bring our work boots, we're pretty formidable, but we get sharp reminders what we need to do as a coaching group and as a playing group. So clearly somewhere in our preparation from my end and the coaching panel and the players wasn't where it needed to be. So we'll try and identify that and work on it.
Did you need to clamp down their attack from the back line a bit early, do you feel?
Did I what?
Would you like to have clamped down on their runs from the fence?
No, yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, I thought they bounced out pretty well. Yeah.
Is that something that the message that had to come from you, or was it them, the players, not fixing it on the field?
Well, I don't know, you have to review, but I think you're right, they bounced out pretty well.
Ross, do you think your side could have capitalised more on the hit-outs? Because you won the hit-out count by a long
No, we won the clearance count as well.
Yeah.
So I think scores from clearances were pretty even. Yeah. But again, opposition, it's about desperation and tackle pressure. I thought they did that really well, you know. So, yeah, I thought they had a couple of good quarters where they scored. But again, that was just spread. I don't think they waltzed out. I don't think we waltzed out, you know, so.
There was a lot made of Fife's bump a couple of weeks ago. How did he sort of handle sitting on the sidelines for those couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's not something I've spoken to him about. I sort of deal with those players that are available. He hasn't been available. He trained and he played, and you know he won a fair bit of ball. He'll only get better from here.
Ross, can you update us on Josh Simpson? Where is that?
Yeah, in respect to
Not flying to Sydney, not playing at all this weekend.
yeah, I can. Where are you at with it?
Well, has
What
can
a
you
club?
tell your members
Has
and
Chris
fans?
Bond released anything? Sort of.
I think he's done some various interviews.
Yeah, what's he said?
Hasn't done one with me.
No, but you would hear the information.
I've seen some quotes, yeah.
Okay. What? Just to give us an update, Luke.
Yeah, as Chris said, asking the question, right?
Ross, are you as patient as you've always been with Josh, or is it starting to run out?
Yeah, I'm trying to sort
Seems
of
as though
think
he's
here.
had a difficult 18 months.
No, well, okay, so he's had a difficult 18 months. So really I should be talking about the game, but I will indulge you because it's topical. He has a number of family, cultural and attitudinal situations to work through. And he'd done enough to be picked. But in this case, clearly Josh was disappointed about being out of the team. So he's basically dropped his bundle. So that's what's occurred there. But in previous times, Josh has gone home for cultural reasons, and they might be illness, family illnesses, and Western medicine versus traditional medicine, where there's a need to go home. There's all of those. Then he's a young father with 2 children, so there's a lot of pressures there. So, and his background of foundation, he hasn't walked out of Hale School with a silver spoon in his mouth. So he comes from northwest, 500 kilometres northwest of Perth, and he's been through in his life trying circumstances. So therefore, we're trying to build a base and nurture and work with Josh and counsel, and also at times discipline and encourage Josh to be able to handle the rigours of AFL football. And that is a big transition. It is occurring, and it occurred to the point where Josh was able to play last week. But even last week, there was still some cultural issues that saw really Josh return home to Mullewa during the week for there's certain health reasons. So when you put all that together, it's really trying circumstances for us as a football club, because sometimes you're trying to do what the education system, families, mentors, elders and the government can't quite do. So we're working through all those things with Josh. But in this particular instance, it's been an attitudinal and taking your bat and ball and going home in this case. So then to answer your first question, no, I haven't run out of patience. We're here to support the person and challenge the action or the behaviour. So in this situation, we'll clearly come together as a football club, leaders, and with Josh and with his manager, and talk about potential ramifications and what it means and how he needs to earn the trust back. So I hope that helps.
There's been a couple of mixed reports as to whether he was meant to fly or not. And when you say bat and ball and go home,
Well, you don't have to be a genius, but what did I just say?
You said he took his bat and ball and went home.
So how would you interpret that if
Well,
you put your thinking cap on?
I don't know whether you mean he took his bat and ball and went home before you guys flew, or he just didn't turn up to the
Let me clarify for you. He was supposed to fly
Thank you.
and didn't turn up.
Ross, can I just ask finally, what level of confidence have you got that he can reach his potential and have a long-term solid career?
Well, it's a space of 7 days, isn't it? We're talking about a kid that's played 2 games. Certainly don't get seduced by talent, but all the resources in the world. No one will leave our football club. And I think in the short period I've been there and prior to me, no one will leave our football club without knowing, being fully supported, fully resourced, given every opportunity. If you end up not being with our football club, you've actually chosen that in the end. So let's hope we don't get to that point. Thanks, Chris.
as a final